E-Dragons are crazy strong at Town Hall 11 when you know how to use them and what bases to use them on, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Here we got base number 1. First of all, you're going to notice kind of that skinnier shape of this base. We look at the sweepers, they're pointing side to side, but none of them are pointing this direction over here. So these two air defenses right in here, really easy to get chains to. So there we go. First part of this attack looks pretty straightforward. The backside, we do not have any chain pathing to multi-target Infernos, but multi-targets aren't that dangerous for E-Dragons, so that's not a big deal. If we had two air defenses back here with no chain pathing to them, that would be a much bigger deal. So these air defenses on the backside are a little rough, right? We're going to get to that in just a moment, but first I want to play the first part of this attack. We're going to pause and we're going to take a look at that back end and what I had planned back there, because I had this planned specifically for this base, what it presented me with this design. We got no air targeting stuff there on the left, so going to get a nice easy funnel with the baby dragon. That's going to make sure that the king walks down that whole wall, doesn't try to curve back around, grouping up with the E-Dragons, pulling, Hound CCs he's not supposed to pull. I don't even remember it was in the CC, honestly, but if you have enough E-Dragons in there, it does not matter. Here we go. E-Dragons are coming in, got a few loons out in front of them there, alright? Those loons are checking for any seeking air mines and testing. If you notice your base is weak to E-Dragons, you might put 2, 3 seeking air mines out here. Those loons are really going to limit that. And then we got the Stone Slammer coming in, jumping in front of those E-Dragons as well, provided some needed tanking for them. Double rages right there. I knew they were spreading out. I wanted raged chain lightnings on both sides. Look at that freeze value right there. Oh, I was too slow. There was 4 defenses right there, including the air defense, all right? When you got a bunch of freezes in your attack, you're going to look ahead of time for good freeze values. So catching an air defense, but catching as many other air targeting defenses as you can with that air defense as well. Sometimes you're going to have to freeze a sweeper, all right? That is huge E-Dragon value, huge freeze value if the sweeper is targeting your E-Dragons. So here we go. Wrecked the first part of this base, no problem. Now, hold on. We're going to pause right here. If you look at these air defenses, I mean, if you look, we do have chains back to both of these air defenses. However, kind of the nature of E-Dragons, or any dragons really, if you're bringing them through the base, they tend to group on one side or the other. I expect them to do that here as well. They're actually a lot more spread out than I thought they would be at this point in the attack. But what I figured was they would group to either the top side and get this air defense with a chain, or they would group to the bottom and get this one with a chain. So you look at my army composition, I still got 4 loons in the composition. I have a freeze, but more importantly, I have a haste. On the backside of this, look at this. We got direct pathing to both of these air defenses on the backside. So I'm waiting. I'm going to see which one of these air defenses the most of these E-Dragons are heading towards, and I'm going to haste loons into the remaining air defense. That was the plan on this base. And here we go. Looks like they're grouping a little more towards the top. We got a few more E-Dragons in towards the top. I see that. So I go ahead and get hasted loons into the air defense on the right, and then I freeze the air defense on the tops. Unfortunately, the E-Drags actually went into that multi-target Inferno, so they didn't get it down right away. But with that freeze, keeping it on ice, there we go. Look how many E-Dragons I got left, you guys. I'm counting 5 E-Dragons. All right, that means I only lost 2 in this entire raid. Started with 7 E-Dragons, ended this raid with 5 E-Dragons left over. And chain pathing to those backside air defenses, actually chain pathing to all the air defenses, is what you're really looking for. If a sweeper's fighting you, you gotta keep it frozen. Make sure you get the chain pathing to those valuable defenses, and you're gonna have a ton of success with E-Dragons. Let's check out the next example. You definitely want to stick around to the end of this video, because all these examples are using different army compositions to fit the specific bases that they're attacking, and that sort of stuff you can use to be more successful in your attacks. Here we got Astrum Joker coming in with this mass E-Dragon army. Take a look at how he sets up this beautiful funnel. Love the chain value from the Town Hall. Look at that chain going off, busting off some of those buildings, cutting in that funnel. We got an Ice Golem on the left side, tanking for the Queen. She's going to cut in a nice chunk of funnel over there on the left-hand side, including grabbing an air defense. Big time value anytime you're doing an E-Dragon or Dragon attack, for that matter. Now, this dragon got stuck up on the Town Hall for a little bit longer than he would have liked, so he drops another E-Dragon down here just to really complete that funnel. Now the Barbarian King's coming in to keep funneling that whole side. You don't want to lose. Look, you don't want to have E-Dragons come in here and then bounce out the side and go start clearing trash buildings. Because if they're doing that, they're missing air defenses. They're getting hammered on by defenses while they're dealing with trash buildings. And that is not the way to keep your E-Drag attack flowing. Look at this beautiful little funnel set in here. And the sweeper only covers the very edge. This was all planned. This was all very deliberate. Now he's got rages, 1 heal in this composition as well, although you don't always see that, and 4 freezes. That is pretty consistent. You see that a lot of times. Expect to see one coming down on those sweepers probably pretty soon. There we go. He actually got a little late. The slammer got those sleepers down, and a chain lightning got the other one down right before the freeze came down. Now look for those remaining freezes to be used on those backside air defenses. Of course, you're trying to grab some other value as well. That side he grabbed an AD and an Expo. This side he grabbed an AD and an Archer Tower. But because the buildings in this base were packed so tightly together, and you had such nice pathing through to all those air defenses, actually, you know, as soon as it's over, we're going to take a look at the base. I'm going to take a look at the base real quick and show you guys why this was such a perfect base for the E-Dragon. So we're going to go in. We're going to pause it. We're just looking at the base. We already know he funnels there. He comes in there. Look at how close these buildings are together. We see throughout this entire base, very rarely do you see any 2 or more spaced buildings. We've got chain value between all these buildings in here. And more importantly, we've got chain value leading up to every single one of these air defenses in this base. And when you have reliable chain pathing through to those air defenses, those raged up E-Dragons are able to take down, like this air defense, when they're right here on the edge of its range, all right? They're raged up. They're taking out this air defense before they're even barely taking any fire from it, and that's exactly what you want to look for in a mass E-Dragon attack. Here's our next base, guys. You might notice the army comp is a little bit different. It's definitely a mass E-Dragon attack, but this one also has bat spells on the backside. Now let's take a look at the sweepers on this. We got 1 point in this way, 1 point in this way. So from this side coming in right here, we really have little to no sweeper coverage. So if you can funnel some of this junk up top, you got to figure there's probably a Tesla farm in there as well. Do some funneling on the outside over here. You can send E-Dragons into the middle, and once you get them in there, that chain pathing is amazing. This base is so tight. It is packed so extremely tightly, excuse me, that anywhere that your E-Dragon goes off, it's going to be getting massive chains. The entire base is packed tight. So you didn't have to use bat spells on this. The reason he decides to is because this guy's got 3 air targeting defenses that can all be frozen with a single freeze on the backside, but you could have just as easily gone with more rages and freezes and just straight up mass E-Dragon this base as well. So here we go. Let's watch the plan go through as Huntogram takes this base down. The funnel on top is going to be a little tricky just because of the number of Teslas and that single target Inferno up there, but he's going to manage to get it done with some help from an Ice Golem. Keep those Teslas on ice and keep that single target Inferno on ice as well. We got a Loon up top. That Loon was out in front of the E-Dragon. Good call. Just checking for any seeking air mines in the area, popping any Teslas so they could be taken down with those chain lightnings. Of course, we got a King on the bottom side, and just like that, our funnel is already established. Stone Slammer is going in with the E-Dragons. Grand Warden on air, of course, going in with the E-Dragons as well. Now, here's the point right here. He's going to get some great chain value off of that rage right there. After that, though, without the benefit of the rage, they're going to slow down quite a bit. He's going to use the rest of his spells for the bat portion of the attack. Now, if you would have raged up those E-Dragons right there in the core, they would have continued pushing their way through that base. He got 1 more freeze down on that Eagle and the air defense. If it would have been just a little to the left, he could have got all 3 of those in there. But he's also got his Bat Bomb going down on the bottom. 2 freezes to get all 3 of those splash damage defenses down with the help of a Rage. And the Bats are off to the races. Unfortunately, the Queen did pull the Hound, and that's going to keep the E-Dragons hung up. But he's got a massive group of Bats moving their way throughout the base, taking out the rest of the defenses, while the E-Dragons were stuck on that Hound a little bit right there. I love it when the Bats turn around and battle off the last of the lava pups and just keep tearing through the rest of the base. And here we go. Nothing else to stop these bats in this base, and that is gonna be a triple. Next up, we got a Queen Charge E-Dragon attack that I've had some success with at Town Hall 11 as well. Here we've got a Queen Charge E-Dragon attack. Now, I played around with this army a while back at Town Hall 11, and it is very strong. The main problem I kept running into with it was time fails, just because those E-Dragons are so slow, but other than that, it would have crushed like every single base. Huntergram is gonna get it done just fine in time this time. We got some funneling on the left-hand side, taking out that Town Hall early, and Queen Charge stepping up into the base. Now on these, you want to make sure to keep your E-Dragons away from freezes, unless you can freeze them with other good value. Like if you can freeze an air defense and a sweeper, that's fine. Go ahead and head into that sweeper and freeze it along with that air defense. But if you're just freezing sweepers and no other value, then do not start your E-Dragons near a sweeper. Now, either way the Queen walks here, she's gonna be picking up another air defense. She walks to the left, grabs one of those, so he's gonna start his E-Dragons up top where they do not have to fight any sweepers heading into this base. There's the sweepers in the base. E-Dragons are coming in. Oh man, he tried to freeze the air defense and the sweeper right there, but he only got the air defense. That's okay. It's really only harassing a couple of the E-Dragons on the far left. Sweeper goes down at this point. Grand Warden abilities keeping those E-Dragons and that Stone Slammer invincible as they move deeper into this base. Nice freeze on that Eagle Artillery right there. Another freeze on a double X-Bow right there. That Stone Slammer's doing a good job staying out in front of those E-Dragons, keeping them protected. Pops his Queen ability to make it through that Barbarian King and keep working her way around the corner, trying to keep that corner really trimmed out by the Queen so the E-Dragons stay in there, dealing with those defenses, getting off those Chain Lightning abilities. We've got some nice chain value back to that last air defense, and that's why this was an excellent choice on this base. Looking for chain value with those E-Dragons through the base, especially to the air defenses, and most especially to the backside air defenses. Look at how closely these buildings are stacked right here, right? We got plenty of chain value as long as the E-Dragons pop onto this one or this one right there. They're gonna be chaining to that last air defense, no problem. Look at this, the Queen inside of this inner channel. The E-Dragons are not even gonna have to take out that last air defense because the Queen is gonna be picking it up. We've still got 4 out of 5 of the E-Dragons that he started with alive on this attack. It was a beautiful choice for this base because we had some great Queen Charge value coupled with nice chain value in the core for those E-Dragons, making for a beautiful hybrid attack. Queen Charge with E-Dragons, really gonna demolish this base. E-Dragons are gonna rush in there, finish off that last multi-target Inferno. Absolutely beautiful attack by Huntergram. Next up, got a Town Hall 13 example. It might not be Town Hall 11, but it's a beautiful example of a mass E-Dragon attack. First of all, look at these sweepers. Nothing covering this side of the base. So now your job is to take out some air defenses if you can, but more importantly, create that funnel for the E-Dragons. That's exactly what he's going to be doing with that Ice Golem, taking in front of his Queen, using his Queen to take out an air defense and really get rid of a ton of those trash and defenses, creating a nice funnel for the E-Dragons. Of course, at Town Hall 13, you've also got the Royal Champion, so he's going to be able to do some stuff that we can't really do at Town Hall 11 or any other Town Hall for that matter. He's going to send in the Royal Champion to grab another air defense, a whole section of defenses actually, but the target is taking out that chunk of the base right there for the sake of pathing and taking out that air defense with the ability. Look at this. Wow, gotta pause right there. Now we've taken down this whole side of the base, created a nice narrow path for the E-Dragons. King is gonna come down. His job is to funnel all the trash buildings on the outside, keeping the E-Dragons focused. Unfortunately, he's got other plans in mind. Now, unfortunately, that Royal Champion did pull the Hound, so if you think you're going to pull the Hound with your heroes, have a plan, let those heroes die out first, and then draw it over to a corner away from the E-Dragons. See, his King's going the wrong way there, but he did clear enough of the buildings that they're going to have a nice funnel on the inside, at least for the first part. He uses an audible there and drops an E-Dragon out there to finish that part of the funnel that the King was supposed to take care of. We got E-Dragons being raged up, heading into that Town Hall. Grand Warden ability's going to go off right now, keeping them invincible throughout the rest of that Town Hall blast. Now they're slowed down by the Town Hall, but still a little bit invincible there, and coming into a rage, moving into the backside of this base. Keeping them raged up is super key. Check out this Stone Slammer right here. He didn't really like his chain pathing, didn't have chain pathing to this bottom Inferno right here, so he saves the Stone Slammer, sends it in directly at that multi-target Inferno. Still has a rage, and also even has a clone spell that he's going to be using. Where's he going to use that clone? Right there with that Stone Slammer E-Dragon, so he's got a really strong force. Moving into the backside of the base, they're able to take out that last air defense by freezing that air defense and getting double E-Dragon pops down on it. Now, if you want to use a clone spell, that's cool. Do your thing. It obviously worked out super well here for Ghost Rider. I'm not a big fan of the clone spells, though. I'm more about just raging them up through the base, and I like to have at least 4 freezes in my composition if I've got a haste or a poison, but I'll take 5 freezes if I need to. I'll usually take like 4 rages and 5 freezes and just really plan out my freeze value ahead of time, get massive freeze value, keeps a lot of the damage off of your E-Dragons. Make sure to use that Grand Warden ability at the correct time when they're taking maximum damage, and then the rages just keep them pushing throughout that base. If I find any air defenses that I do not trust my chain pathing to, then I'll make sure to save 4 loons and a haste to take out that air defense on the backside of the base. If you follow those principles, look for the things that we've been looking for, you're going to have a ton of success with E-Dragons.